we're currently working on ratio, rate, and proportion. So today we're going to be focusing on direct and inverse proportion. I'm going to try and give you some hints to try and make it a little bit easier. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing consolidation of this course that we've been doing. And your next course that's coming up is going to be exponents, which is super cool. So very jealous. We're going to have fun with that. Okay. I would like to know, before I do anything, in the chat, who has done proportion at school already? So who has done direct and inverse proportion at school? Let me know. Or if you want to say it out loud, you can just put your hand up and we can unmute you and have a chat. Okay, so lots of not me's, some me's. I like the eagle there, lots of enthusiasm. Yes, Vudi, can you tell me, have you done it, have you not?
Ma'am, at school I've done proportion, like the inverse proportion and direct proportion.
Okay, so you have done it in school already?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was really nice.
Okay, well, that's all good. Good things. I like it. Okay, let's get going then. Some of you have done it, some of you have not. I feel hopeful. I think we are going to zoom through this then. Okay, so we're going to start with direct proportion. So my question is to those of you who have done this in class already. At the moment, I don't want you to worry about this table, okay? I mean, you can, just don't put thought into it. Those of you who have already done this in class, which one of you think you can tell me what direct proportion is? Like, what is direct proportion? You don't need to give me like a fancy mathematical definition. Yeah, or like, I just want to know, like, very basically in easy English, what does it mean if something is in direct proportion? What does that mean? Who thinks they can tell me? So this question is directed to all of you who have already done this in class. And I really don't want you to be scared to give me the wrong answer. Like, take a chance, say what you think. If you're scared that the answer is going to be horribly wrong and you're going to be embarrassed, send a DM. But what do you think direct proportion is? Think about what those words mean. And think about like what you've been doing in this class. Yes, beautiful. When one variable goes up, the other one also goes up. That is all we need to know. That is the main important thing with direct proportion. When one of the variables go up, the other variable also goes up. That's all we have to think about. If we can just remember this when we think of direct proportion, we're going to be solid. Okay, I'm going to explain what that means just now, so don't stress. The other important thing for us to remember when we have direct proportion is that we are going to use ratio. Okay, so when we read a question, the first thing we're going to think is, if I increase the one, is the other also going to increase? And if my answer to that is yes, then I know it's direct, and then I'm going to use ratio. Okay, so this is not the fancy mathematical definition, but we're going to say when one variable increases, so does the other. Other increases. Okay, and they're going to increase at the same rate. For our late one, hi, I'm Teacher Jen, just looking after you this week.
Yeah, nice meeting Teacher Jen, everybody. It's very cool. You're going to enjoy this.
I promise some of the other classes love me. You just don't know me yet. I still have to win over your love. We're in the wooing stage.
We're still on that, like, hey, come over here.
Yeah, we're not vibing yet. I get it. It takes time. I know, Teacher Sam's not here. I can't replace her. She'll be so bad. She'll be back on Monday. She's just sick. I'm just here for this week while she's got the flu.
Yeah, next week she'll be here. But I promise
And she
you,
would
if you
never
have your
let me
pen and
teach
a
you if she didn't trust me. So because
exactly.
you know Teacher Sam, she knows things. So like
Yeah,
you don't need to stress.
definitely.
Yeah, exactly. One day we're in the talking stage. We're like maybe messaging each other, but I promise you by the end of the lesson we're gonna be vibing and you're gonna be like, oh yes, Teacher. I'm gonna work on it. Okay, so we are looking at direct proportion. So the easiest example with direct proportion is think about popcorn. So if I bought a bag of popcorn at the tuck shop, and let's say that bag of popcorn cost me 10 Rand. Okay. If I buy more bags of popcorn, it's going to cost me more money. The more popcorn I buy, the more money I'm going to spend. So as one goes up, the other also goes up. Okay, that is direct proportion. So think about it like this. If I now have 2 bags of popcorn, how much is that going to cost me? How much is that going to cost me? If 1 bag is 10 Rand, how much is 2 bags going to cost me? Exactly, 20 Rand. Perfect. Okay, same goes for 3, 30 Rand. Now let's try and make it a bit more interesting. Now let's look at the 6. If I have, so this is my popcorn. I'm just going to write this as a ratio. And this is how much money it costs. If I have 1 bag of popcorn and it costs me 10 Rand, and now I have 6 bags of popcorn. I know that you're all like, this is so easy, but I promise this method will help you when we get down later. I'd have to times that by 6 by 6. So we're going to times that by 6 until we would get the answer of 6. Okay. How much will 10 bags of popcorn cost me? 100. Beautiful. How much will 20 bags of popcorn cost me? 200. And that, my lovely friends, is direct proportion. That is as easy as direct proportion is. The most important thing with any type of proportion question, because they're not trying to trick you, is the first thing you have to do is identify if it is direct or if it is inverse, which we're going to talk about just now. And if it is direct, you need to think, I need to use ratio. So this is sort of like, if you understand what's going on here, you actually will understand direct proportion for all of the tricky questions. So give us a screenshot if you would like. And then we're going to move on to inverse proportion. If you are in school and you're learning this, sometimes they teach it to you as a graph. So basically, like as the one increases, the other increases. So you land up with a straight line like this. So as this one increases, this one also increases. I don't want to confuse you with it, but if you see that, that's what this is meaning. So screenshot it up and we will move to inverse. And if you have questions, just ask. You can pop your hand up and we can chat, or you can put them in the chat down below, and then both Yolanda and I can see them and answer you. Cool. Yes. Yasha, I'm worried I've messed up your name horribly there.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
So, I wanted to know if there's a difference between the topic we're learning now, direct proportion and indirect proportion, to like VAT included or excluded VAT. Is there a difference? Because we learned about that, not direct proportion and indirect proportion.
Yeah, so VAT and including VAT is, it's sneaky. You can sort of use it with proportion and you can use it with rate and ratio, but sometimes schools teach it within like a financial math section.
Oh.
And sometimes they teach
Okay,
it within percentage, but they're all kind of like, they're all kind of friends with each other.
Okay, ma'am, I understand.
Okay. Tatsu. Oh gosh.
Evening, ma'am.
Hello.
You got it right. It is Hotato.
Yes. Okay. How can I help?
Ma'am, when, for example, if it's the cost, because I see that it's 10, 20, 30, 60, 100, and 200, does the order matter?
So they wouldn't give, I mean, sometimes they'll give you a table like this. The most important thing is to look at like what that number is up there. because that number tells you what this number is. It's not working
Oh.
this way. It's working that way.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Okay, cool. So that is direct proportion. Let's jump down to some inverse, and then we will look at some questions and see how we can bring these two ideas together. Okay. So direct proportion, our brain is going to think both are going up. So both variables are increasing, and then we're going to think ratio. When we think inverse proportion, we think one variable is going up and one variable is going down. We think one is going up, one is going down. So as one increases, so as one variable increases, the other decreases. One up, one down. And in direct, we think of ratio. In inverse proportion, let me use a different color so that it stands out a bit more. We think of something called a constant product. Okay. So in inverse proportion, one is going up, one is going down. Yes, calculators are absolutely allowed and encouraged. This is your best friend for the next 5 years, guys. Treat it well. Don't lose their covers. I know in grade 8, you don't want this cover anymore. I know it just disappears, but keep it. Keep your calculators happy in their happy little homes, and they will treat you well for 5 years. Okay, so the best way to think about inverse proportion is, imagine you were painting a house, okay? And if you are painting a house, it's going to take you a certain number of hours to paint a house. If I have more people to help me to paint, is it going to take less time or is it going to take more time? That's my first question to you. If I have more people to help me paint my house, is it going to take, so if I have more people, am I going to have more, or is it going to take more or less time? Karambo, yes, hello.
Yes, it's going to take less time.
It is definitely going to take less time unless we are having a little partakey while we are painting and eating a lot of pizza and talking, and then we take a lot longer. Theoretically, it should take us less time. So we have more people and it is taking us less time. And that means that one is going up and one is going down. That means it is inverse proportion. Okay. So I'm going to tell you that one person is going to take 96, oh, sorry guys, that's my cat, 96 hours to paint the house. So one person is going to take 96 hours to paint the house. My first question to you is, how long is it going to take two people? Koketsu, how long is it going to take two people to paint this house?
Hi, ma'am. Sorry to ask this. I don't want to answer that question.
No, that's okay.
So how do we do this inverse proportion? How do we do it? Because my network was really bad, so I had to go out. Sorry.
No, don't stress. We're going to be talking about how to do it now. We've just started inverse proportion, so you haven't missed anything. So don't panic. Okay. So remember what we spoke about here, because I can see some people's answers, and I know it's an easy trap to fall into because of what we've just done, right? But remember, if I have more people, it's going to take me less time. So if your number is bigger than 96, then we know we've gone wrong. Okay. If I have two people, it's going to take me 48 hours. Now, how did I get that? I said, well, one person takes me 96 hours And so I'm going to say 96 divided by 2. And that's going to give me 48. Okay. So now I want you to think, well, okay, what if I have 3 people? Yes, I see we have some answers ready and waiting. I like it. If I have 3 people, I'm saying 96 divided by 3, and that's going to give me 32. This is coming along. Are we seeing some patterns? If I have 4 people, yes, beautiful. If I have 4 people, it's going to take 24. Keep it going, guys. What's going to happen if I have 6 people? Yes, glorious. What if I have 8 people? Nice. 24. You guys even get a show with me. Some glorious singing. Good. I'm going to have 4. And then lastly, if I have 48 people, it's going to take me 2 hours. Okay. So for all of these, what we did was we said 96 divided by that number. And so in this case, our fancy number, our constant product was 96. And the reason we call it a constant product is because if we multiply these two together, so 2 times 48, that's going to give me 96. 3 times 32, that's going to give me 96. 4 times 24, that's going to give me 96. 6 times 16, that's going to give me 96. It is all the same. So constant means it's the same, and product means we multiply. So if we multiply all of those numbers, we should get the same answer each time. That is what inverse proportion is. So if we multiply those 2 numbers together, we should get the same answer every time. That's sort of the basics of inverse proportion. But don't worry, we're going to do examples of all of this now. We're going to talk about which is which and talk through them. You're going to blow your minds by how smart you are. But if you have questions about what you're currently seeing, pop those hands up or put them in the chat for us. Okay, so how can I help? Oh gosh, my cat just knocked my whole laptop over. Hello? No, so it's not always going to be 96. It's always going to be what the case would be for 1. Or you can work out this. So they'll always have to give you something. So in this case, I gave you 1 person was 96. But let's say they gave you this, then you would just multiply those 2 together and get your answer. So whatever that multiplication is, that's what your magic number will be. In this case, it's 96, but it would be different for each question. Okay. Yes. Twande, how can I help?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
By the way, it's Luandle.
I'm sorry.
So, ma'am, my question is, what if like the whole table is fulfilled, like it's full, and then they told us to find the constant product? Is that possible?
Yeah, so if the whole table is full and they asked you to find the constant product, you can choose any one of them. So you could choose this one, or you could choose this one, or you could choose this one. You just multiply them together and you get your answer. That is what the constant product is.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Okay, cool. Let's jump into some examples. So take a screenshot if you would like one, and then we're going to do some questions. Okay. Cool. All right. So the first question. The cricket team is having a farewell braai. Catering for 45 people is going to cost 900 Rand. How much will it cost to cater for 60 people? So whenever you get a question like this, before you jump into anything, your first question is this direct? And if it's direct, it means both would go up, or is this inverse, which means one is going up and one is going down. Okay, so think about it like this. We're catering for 45 people. It's going to cost 900 Rand. So my question to you is, if I have more people, is it going to cost more money? If I have more people, is it going to cost more money? Yeah, exactly. So if I have more people, it is going to cost more money, which means it's direct. If it's direct, I know I need to use ratio. Okay, so we're going to write ourselves a little ratio. We've got people, we've got money. 45 people cost 900 Rand. I want to know what it's going to cost 60 people. Lots of different ways you could go about this. So you can first simplify, but the quickest way is our sneaky little method called divide up times over, which I'm going to talk to you about here, because then you can use that method with the next questions we work through. So you look at the column where you have both answers and you divide up. So in this case, I'm saying 60 divided by 45. And you times over. So you divide up and you times over. So then we're going to say times 900. You can chuck that straight into your calculator like that. So 60 divided by 45 times by 900, and you'll get your answer of 1,200 Rand. So divide up times over. Always works. When you're working with ratio, it will work every time. Okay. While this is on the board like this, yeah, I can go up. I can take a picture. Are you needing a picture of inverse? Is that what you needed, one of? I'm going to leave this here to try and help you a little bit with question B. You're welcome. To travel 216 kilometers, a car uses 24 liters of petrol. So again, I want you to think, if I travel further, so the longer I travel, will I need more petrol? So if your answer to that is yes, then it's direct. If your answer to that is no, then it is inverse. If I travel more, will I need more petrol? Whenever you get these questions, that is the very first question you ask yourself. Are both going up, or is one going down, one going up? And then I want you to give this question a go and see if you can answer it for me. Let's see who can jump to the right answer straight away. Oh, Aratile, I wish, because then if we drove further, we could use less petrol, and then it would cost us a lot less money. It would be a lovely world. I would live in that world. I'm seeing some great answers coming in. Unfortunately, because of the world we live in, the further we drive, the more petrol we use. So the more we drive, the more petrol we use. So it's direct. And if it's direct, we're going to use ratio. So we have kilometers and we have liters. 216 kilometers is going to take 24 liters. And we want to know how far I'm going to travel on 45. So we're going to do our sneaky divide up times over. Divide up, so 45 divided by 24 times over times 216. And you should get the glorious answer of 405 kilometers. So just be careful. So some of you are telling me liters, but they're saying how far will it travel? So it will travel 405 kilometers. Nice job, guys. I'm going to give you one more like this, and then we can go to a brain break, okay? One more question, and then a brain break. If you want to take a screenshot, please feel free, because I'm going to scroll up past both of these. So this is your time to shine. Yes, totally fine. Totally fine. Okay. All right, and to those who were having network issues, I'm just going to quickly scroll here for you. And let's see if we can get both of these in at the same time. That's looking at direct and inverse proportion. So for those of you who were struggling with your network earlier, you can take a screenshot of that. Actually, maybe we should jump straight to the brain break now, because it is already half past. Let's quickly do our brain break, and then we'll do some more questions.
Yeah, I can see Singita is like, I am so ready, ma'am, for a
I'm
brain
tired.
break.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
because Singita is like, I'm even chowing whatever Singita is chowing. And ML Kuluse is also like, whoa, I'm in my own world with my teeth over there, but I'm doing the best that I can. Y'all don't disappear. I'll always see you. So
Miranda's
definitely,
got
I'm
you guys.
checking up with you.
She's-
Yeah,
she
I'm
knows.
watching.
She knows.
Exactly. I'm
And
there.
Miranda and I are besties, so like she'll tell
Exactly.
me.
I'll definitely just, snitch on you. So you better behave.
Okay, guys, let's see who can solve this. I am looking for my answer for this question. I want to know what this question mark is. And if you get it right, you get the brilliant joke, which is next to it. But if I don't get the right answer, you don't get the joke. That's I'm gonna be ruthless. Let's see who can solve this. And if you are struggling and you kind of want help along the way, you're welcome to send me like messages along the way, and I'll say whether or not it's right. But remember, if you put it in the group to everyone, you're helping everyone solve it. Which I'm not against, but just know that. Oh, we have our first answer. How exciting. Let's see if people agree with you. Let's see. Oh, we have two answers. I can confirm that one of those is correct. I know, it's because I'm such a good singer. It's more of a curse than a talent, really. Nice, guys. 249 is 100% the right answer. You have won yourselves the chance to see the joke of the day. Beautiful. Are you going to explain to us how you got your answer? You were our first winner. Let me try your name again. Luandle. Is that better?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes. Okay, tell me how you got your answer.
Okay, ma'am. So for the first one, I said, since I saw that it was 60, I just guessed it was like 20. So I said 20 plus 20 plus 20, which is 60. And then
Beautiful.
since there were 2 cars there, I noticed, and then
Mhm.
the answer was 91.
Yeah.
So then I saw that 20 divided by 2 is 10. So I said 10.
Good.
And then I asked myself, what number times 2 gives me like a number I could add to 10 that would give me 91, which
Right.
was 81. So I said 9 times 9 plus
I
10,
like it.
which is 91.
Mhm.
So then the train, the trains, I just said, what did I say? I don't remember how I got like 6, ne? But I just
6
said
is right
6
though.
times
Yeah.
9. I just said
Yeah.
6 times 9
So
plus 6,
that
which
gives me
gave
my
me 60.
54. Good. So 50. Oh, goodness, sorry. 54 plus 6, which gives me 60. Beautiful.
Yes.
And so now we know that this is 9, and we know that these are
12.
good. And then the
So then I
multiplication.
said 9 plus 12 times 20, which gave me 249.
Excellent. Well done. Nice job. And you have won the joke for the whole class, which is very exciting. And so our joke for today, which I would like to encourage you all to ask your maths teachers on the first day of term next term, I want you all to very casually put up your hand and say you have a question, is how do you teach math to a chicken? Show them lots of examples.
Examples. I laughed at that, my people. I was laughing non-stop. I must take screenshots and ask your teachers.
Ask your teachers. Get them going. Oh, I love Teacher Sam's jokes. Okay, let's jump into some questions. We're going to do slightly different questions here. I just want to kind of test you out, and then we will maybe come back to some of the sort of more regular ones. I want us to look at these first. Okay. So we're going to be looking at these tables basically. And I want you to tell me whether it's inverse proportion. So if it's inverse, if it's direct, or if it's neither. So if it's not any of them. So I want you to kind of have a look at these tables and see if you think you can tell me. See if you can try and figure it out a little bit. So our first one is we have the length of a piece, and then we have the number of pieces. How could we go about figuring out if this is inverse or if this is direct? Because if it's not either of them, then it's neither. Oh, I thought I had Litesh, but the hand is gone. Ah,
Cash.
yes. Hello.
It is inverse proportion
Can you tell me how you know that?
because it is less.
You're saying good things. One is going up and one is going down, but that doesn't always mean that it's inverse. Teto, can you help me out? How do I know that this is inverse? It absolutely is inverse. Oh no, dude, we can't hear you. The easiest thing to check with inverse is to check, remember, the two keys are if it's direct, we are going to have a constant ratio. Okay. And if it is inverse, we are going to have a constant product. Okay. So if we multiply these all together and we get the same number, so 5 times 200 gives us 1,000. 62.5 times 16 gives us 1,000. 20 times 50 gives us 1,000. So all of them have a constant product. And if there is a constant product, then it is inverse. So if you were given this in a test, they would say whether it is inverse or direct or neither. And if it is, give the constant ratio or give the constant product. So we would say it is inverse proportion, and the constant product is 1000. Okay. So just be careful with the answers of looking at one's increasing and one's decreasing, because if you have a look, my numbers are not going in a regular amount. It's not like these are not in order. So 216, 54, they're not in order. So we need to be careful, because sometimes they'll do that to trick you. Okay, let's have a look at the second one. So we've got speed in kilometers per hour, and then we've got the distance in 5 hours. So basically we're seeing how far we've gone in 5 hours. And we're trying to figure out if this is direct. So if it's direct, I'm going to have a constant, if it's direct, I'm going to have a constant ratio. If it is inverse, I'm going to have a constant product. And if I have neither of those, then it's neither. Okay, so we've got lots of people saying direct. So let's check. If it's direct, it means we should get a constant ratio. So if I have 50 to 250, I can simplify that down to 1 to 5. Look at our next one. If I have 60 to 300, I can simplify that down to 1 to 5. If I have 65 to 325, I can simplify that down to 1 to 5. They have a constant ratio. So my ratio is the same each time, and that means that it is direct. Nice job. Take a screenshot if you would like one, and then we're going to jump onto the next question. And then I'm going to give you a couple extra ones to try by yourselves, and then it's going to be the end of our lesson. So hopefully I have wooed you in my hour with you, and we'll be vibing by Wednesday. So easiest thing to do with ratio is actually put it in your calculator as a fraction. So for example, put into your calculator 50 over 250. I'm just going to show you what that would look like on your calculator. And then you're just going to push equals, and you will see that it simplifies it for you. So we can always use fractions to simplify things. But if you don't want to use fractions, if that confuses you, you just want to get that down to 1. Yeah, absolutely. First, check if there's a constant product. If there isn't a constant product, then you're going to want to check. Then you're going to want to check if there's a ratio. And if there is neither, then it would be none of them. Okay. Cool. Let's have a look at this one. So we have a number of books, and then we have their mass in kilograms. So when I have 2 books, it's half a kilogram. When I have 3 books, it's 1 kilogram. When I have 5 books, it's 1.3. So I want to know if this is inverse, if it is direct, or if it is neither. Beautiful. So we could start by saying, well, is it inverse? Okay, so if it's inverse, it would mean we would have a constant product. So if I multiplied those 2 times a half, that gives me 1. 3 times 1 gives me 3. So already it's not inverse. Okay, let's see, is it direct? I've got 2 to a half, and I've got 3 to 1. No, it's not direct. Okay, so it's not a constant product, and it is not a constant ratio, which means it is neither. So we have to look for those specific things just to make sure we know what's going on. Okay, nice job. Take one last screenshot and then we're going to jump back into some questions where you can figure things out by yourself. We'll do a couple of questions before the end of our lesson. Okay. This is a nice question. Let's do this one. Okay, water flows from a tap at a rate of 125 liters per minute. So water is flowing from a tap at a rate of 125 liters per minute. How long will it take to fill a tank with 500 liters of water? So my first question to you is, the water's flowing in. So as I get more liters, is that going to take more time? That's my first question to you, because that's going to help you determine what type of proportion this is. As I get more liters, is it going to take more time? And then using that thought, I want you to try and work out the questions for B.1. And then if you are interested, give B.2 a try. Good. Your answers coming through are excellent. Absolutely. As I have more water pouring through, it is definitely going to take more time. And so both are increasing, which means I'm definitely dealing with direct proportion. Okay, we've got our first answer coming in. I'm going to write it like this. So we've got liters, and then we've got minutes. So 125 liters is happening in 1 minute. And we want to know how long it's going to take for 500 liters. Lots of different ways we could go about this. I'm going to do the same way we've been talking about. So in my calculator, I'm going to say 500 divided by 125 times 1, and I will get 4 minutes. Okay. Question 2 says, how much water will be in the tank after 2.5 minutes? How much water will be in the tank after 2.5 minutes? So you can kind of use the same idea that you have just done, but I want you to think about where things would be. So we know that it's 125 liters in 1 minute. And now the question is, how many liters of water will I have in 2.5 minutes? Great answers coming through. Again, we're going to do the same. We're going to divide up and times over. So we're going to say 2.5 divided by 1, which we don't really have to do because anything divided by 1 is itself, times 125. And that gives us the beautiful answer of 312,5. So 312,5 liters. And some of your teachers are quite specific and they want you to write a sentence. So you would need to say there will be 312,5 liters of water in the tank. But mostly you can just write the answer. Yeah, Nondiwe, I see ma'am, but I don't see a question. Did you have a question for me? Did I miss something? Please feel free to take a screenshot of the question, guys. I can see we have got a couple of minutes more before we'll need to do a poll with you. So I think we can do one more question.
Okay, are we adding another question?
I think let's just do one more because it's still 10 to.
Okay.
Let's do the eggs. Let's do the egg question. So this one should be nice and quick, guys, because it's basically the exact same idea of what you've just done. The only difference that we first need to talk about is this. So who can tell me what number 2 dozen is? What number is 2 dozen? Beautiful, 24. So 1 dozen is 12. And a baker's dozen is 13. You don't need that for this question, but just in case you're ever in like a quiz at some point in your life and they ask you, now you know. So we've got eggs and we've got money. The reason a baker's dozen is 13 and not 12 is because a long time ago, the weight of the bread had to be a specific weight. And if they had 12 loaves of bread and it wasn't the right weight, then they would get punished and they'd get into a lot of trouble. They'd get like fined. Like we're talking like medieval times here, guys. And so then what the bakers landed up doing was just putting in a 13th loaf of bread to make up for in case one of the loaves of bread wasn't heavy enough. So that was why they always had 13. That's your fun fact for the day. Medieval loaf bread making. You're welcome. Good answers coming through, guys. So if we have 9 eggs, same vibe, divide up, times over. So I'm going to say 9 divided by 24 times 38.4. And I get the glorious answer of 14 Rand and 40 cents. Okay, just remember those of you who are saying 14,4, it's not wrong, but money always has 2 decimal places. So rather make it 40. And our last one, how many eggs can be bought from 51 Rand and 20 cents? Same vibe, divide up, times over 51,2 divided by 38,4 times 24 gives us 32 eggs. Guys, you were absolute superstars.